Think about your last flying experience. What stands out? Ticket price? Being molested while going through airport security by the TSA agent? A screaming baby sitting next to you in a cramped seat? Or was it pleasant? Did you enjoy your view, have a cocktail, or make conversation with the person next to you? Now, through that entire flying experience, from getting out of your car in the parking lot to returning back to your car after your trip was over, did you ever once think, how did I get there? Most people never think about how the plane actually reached its destination safely. And that's okay. As an aircraft maintainer, I prefer it that way. The less attention, the better. However, today I'd like to take you on a little more in-depth look at aircraft maintenance, and particularly my specialty, aircraft hydraulics. Let's start with some of the ins and outs of maintenance. Aircraft maintenance is a behind-the-scenes choreography that enables safe and reliable transportation for the customer. According to Boeing.com, the Boeing 747 contains over 6 million parts. 6 million parts. It also holds 171 miles of wiring, 18 tires, and stands over 67 feet tall. So you may ask, where do you begin? Well, I'm going to tell you. Aircrafts are inspected every day, before the flight, after the flight. They're inspected by the maintenance crews, then they're followed up by the pilots and flight crews. We also use scheduled downtime for bigger jobs, such as time change items like filters and lubing the aircraft. For every flying hour, it takes about 8 hours of maintenance to get that aircraft generated again. Now, aircraft maintenance is broken up into specialties. You have your crew chiefs, you have your avionics, and then you have your specialists or systems offices. So now that we've talked about the ins and outs of maintenance, I'm going to get into aircraft hydraulics, which is actually my specialty. Dictionary.com defines hydraulic as operated by the pressure created by forcing water, oil, or another liquid through a comparatively narrow pipe or orifice. Now, what does that mean to you and me? Simply put, resistance causes pressure. For example, think about when you're on your morning commute and you're chugging along down that 3-lane highway, and then all of a sudden it narrows into 2 lanes. You've got a bunch of cars going from 3 to 2, and all that forcing is similar to hydraulic pressure. You have a lot more cars in a much smaller space. So for example, your flight controls and landing gear on the aircraft. The pilot uses his yoke and he uses his pedals to move the surfaces so that the plane goes up, down, side to side. A human couldn't actually do that without the help of hydraulic power. And the aircraft uses mechanical linkage along with the hydraulic power to make it easier to move those surfaces. Now, most aircraft hydraulic systems operate at 3,000 psi. Now, what that means is there's 3,000 pounds of pressure per square inch of tubing or component. Now, to put in retrospect, 3,000 psi can literally sever your fingers. And just about every aircraft you will ever fly on uses hydraulic power, so you can see how important it is for aviation. Okay, so now that you've learned about aircraft maintenance, and you've learned about particularly hydraulic systems, in closing, I hope the next time you're on an airplane, you don't get stuck next to a screaming baby, and I hope the TSA agent takes it easy on you. But especially, think about how you got there. As a maintainer, we like to be thought of as the quiet professionals, but it's nice every now and again to be thought of. Thanks, have a good one.